Get off me.
And ride heights.
Are you on video or is it just me?
No, I am as well. I haven't got yours showing it because I haven't set it up properly.
Oh, okay. Is Music joining this?
Yeah, he's just come in, I think.
Do you want me to send? Oh, you've got mine up already. Hey?
I'll
I made a change tonight.
Well, give me 2 secs, and we'll get going. All right. Can you start your video, music, just so I can see if it's? Oh no. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you just leave the channel and come back in?
Yep.
You start your video, music.
Yeah, I'm just setting it up. 1 sec.
No stress. Oh, fucking hell. Of course it does this. Fucking piece of shit. It swapped you two over on the thing. I just gotta quickly do a little.
Do you want me to leave again?
No, it's alright. I'll just have to.
Charlie, fuck off.
Oh, now it's done. Okay. We're good. Alright.
Video should be up.
Yep, we're rolling.
Mate, just got home from work. Still got fucking grease and coal dust on my face. But I'm fucking here.
Homer Simpson. What'd
Crazy
you have on today? Just a long day.
Oh, we just got this big time-sensitive project that's happening.
Yeah.
So it's just 12-hour shifts for a couple of days.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It's a dirty boy all day.
You guys get a chance to watch many of the games over the weekend? I think I watched 6 or 7.
I didn't get to watch as much as I like because my parents were still here, but just enough.
Thanks for dressing up too.
Hang on a second, I just need to put my dog in. Charlie! Bear with me.
I think I saw every game apart from the Sunday games.
Yeah, I was at the Richmond game, so that was like quite hard to pay attention to being there. But I know that the GWS players got smacked. That's what I can add to that game.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Hawks were fucking good. Top of the table.
Top of the table.
Top of the table, Hawks. Pies in second somehow.
How's dog shit? West Coast.
Yeah, pretty bad. Look, to be honest, they actually did pretty well considering they had 4 players that had never met the team before.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so like the people in sports bet are asking for market for 100 points plus. So they did a lot better than that.
Yeah.
So we've just lost Taylor, I think.
She's gone.
Oh no, she's coming back. So yeah, have you guys had I think she's a good start. So rather than bring your teams up, I think we'll just I'll just go through like what mine is, and then we'll just talk about trades and stuff, and like what potential trades you guys are doing. It's probably be a bit easier.
Yeah, sounds good.
Have you had a chance to go through and have a look and see what sort of potential trades like you could be doing this week, or like any upgrades to premiums or rookies or?
Yeah, I haven't had a proper deep dive that I want, but I've had a decent look, so I got a bit I can talk about.
Well, I guess we just go through like some of like the standouts. Like obviously Neil, 198.
Yeah.
He's obviously in your team as well. Did you have any thought of putting captain on him, like the genius sitting in front of
you? Close. I was actually gonna vice captain trick Cripps this week.
That's right. I remember you saying that.
But I pulled out because I got cold feet because Walsh was back this week, and I thought maybe he won't have as big of a game with Walsh back in.
Yeah, I was thinking similar. I was interested to see him go this week. Hold on 2 seconds.
Yeah, I was interested to see how he's going to go this week. With Walsh back in the team, whether he's going to get as much on-ball time as he has in the last couple of weeks, or he'd sort of take a bit more of a secondary role like he did last season.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, he looks insane. I don't know. Dude's going to go Super Saiyan 7 at this point if he keeps going the way he's going. Like,
yeah,
another couple of goals, 20 odd contested possessions,
yeah.
like 35 disposals. Going ham. So
He's he's definitely on my radar. I at this like that's the thing. I've just been burnt by him before. It does look like he's back to like what his best was though.
all that should be.
It's just going to be interesting to
standing.
see a little bit when you get like Chera and Walsh back in there as well. Like if he's going to have the same sort of impact, but I think he will. I think he's last season he was obviously carrying a lot of injuries and that sort of stuff, and now he sort of seems to be fit and back to his best. So,
well, I picked him up not as like a premium player, right? I picked him up at that price point to hopefully make me a bit of money, and he's averaging 147 at the moment. So I'd say I should make a decent return on investment there. And then if he keeps popping off, great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got him for 450k, and he's averaging a fuckload. So
yeah, we're just having a little bit of a look. Like his average is 147, as you said. And if you have a look at how much he's sort of expected to make at the moment, he's 93k is his projected change in 3 rounds. Or I think that might be for the season. So they're expecting him to make 100k in the next 3 games regardless. And obviously having such a high score in like the last round, he's going to carry that for the next 2 rounds. So you'll be getting that for the cash cow. So at 540, to get him up 550, and then if he keeps sending it to get up into the 600s, he could definitely at this stage be a top 10 midfielder, which is obviously your aim. So he's definitely for me a huge consideration because my sort of Taron Thomas, my out of the box pick, didn't have a great first week, and then obviously had scored 50 in the first half with the injury as well. So he was on track for that 100, but he's out for 6 or 7 weeks now, I think. So and with his, I think he's estimated to go down about 40k. I don't have really a choice. I've got to trade him out. It'll just be whether or not I go with a Cripps in the midfield and trade someone else in to the forward line, or potentially look at something like a Heaney. But I think the way that those two are going, like Heaney's been kicking a lot of goals, and I know Cripps has too, but even Cripps without those couple of goals, he's still going to be 120, whereas Heaney,
it's like an 80.
Yeah, that's right. He's not going to kick 5-6 goals every game, even though he's got the potential and he's playing ridiculous. The one thing I was interested about before the start of the season was they were going to play him more midfield, and they haven't yet. I'm just wondering when Papley comes back in. Do you know when he's sort of roughly supposed to be coming back?
I don't. I can look it up really quickly though.
1 to 2 weeks, according to the official injury update page. So
1 to 2 weeks. Yeah.
So sorry if there's a bit of background noise.
So what are you looking at your team apart from that at the moment?
Well, so pretty much I'm pretty happy with things apart from the fact that I don't have. I think there's a few players that you have to absolutely have in your team. So Hayes is one of them. So his break even is like 97 or something like that. So he's estimated to go up 100 this week. So pretty much if you don't have him in, you have to have him in this week. There's no ifs or buts. That's your first trade. So I was lucky to have him. I think you had him too.
Yeah, I've had him for the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to pick you up 100,000 straight away. I think you have to have Martin, but not this week. So obviously he's not going to go up in value till next week. So if you don't have him, you can wait another week on that.
Yeah, at 100k, I just have him on my bench. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
get rid of him. I was like, it's fine. I'll just leave him.
Oh, 100%. Well, what did he score? What did he score? 100 and
114 in
yeah.
the first
So
round.
he's 100%. You got to keep him. Like, he was only out with COVID protocols. Like, he didn't get dropped, so he'll 100% be in this week with, especially some of the injuries that Bombers have got as well. He'll 100% be playing. But he won't go up in value for 2 weeks. So if you don't have him like me, so last minute I traded him out for Baldwin. Unlucky. Yeah, so you've got an extra week up your sleeve. The other one is obviously most people are going to have Horn, Francis, and Dacos. Rochelle is probably like one of the medium ones. And what's the other one? Well, I mean, we spoke about before the season about McCartan.
Yeah.
He's where is he? He's going to be somewhere. I'll bring up the stats. So he's. Oh, I'm going to trade something out here. Sorry. So he's fourth highest on dollars per point essentially. So, and he's expected to go up. I think it's about 60,000 straight away, and then 100,000 over the next couple of weeks as well. So him. Dylan Stevens is one as well that I don't have that could potentially go in, but if it'd sort of be for me, I'd be tossing up whether I put in Cripps and then maybe put an extra forward in, so then I can put, I can sort of trade Mitch Owens out potentially because he only got 2 first rounds. So
yeah, we could always put Sherry in or whatever from North. Maybe he's pretty cheap at 200k or something like that if you want to go down that road.
Well, that's exactly right. So he's got the second most break even, I think, the second lowest. So obviously Jack Hayes is number 1, and then you got Cherry number 2. So it would make a lot of sense for me to put Cherry in, put potentially Cripps in, and then maybe look at something like a McCartan, who's just going to be, I hope he doesn't get injured, but I think it's only a matter of time till he maybe cops another knock.
Yeah.
But yeah, really happy with like Jackson. Butters is obviously really good decision in the end to get him over Bailey.
Told you, mate.
Yep, it's good
Popped
pick.
off this week.
Good pick. And yeah, Rayner's the other one that I've got on my bench that I need to look at as well.
Yeah, same.
So I mean, he's someone I could potentially look at trading into a Cherry or a McCartan as well, and then it's kind of nice having like a McCartan and De Koning in as well, because then you can sort of swap them between the two, and if give you a fill up if you need it. So yeah. So what are some of the other ones that you're looking at the moment? I don't know what's happened to Tay. I think we've just completely lost her.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I've got Gorn in my ruck, so yeah, that's one I'm potentially definitely looking at trading. I think he's set to lose like 90k or something this week or something stupid. But yeah, I have to do a few workarounds to get him out. But if I did trade him out, I'd be probably looking at a Jackson or like a Wits or something from Gold Coast.
Yeah. So you wouldn't try and go like another premium straight away, like you'd maybe look at someone who's.
I don't think so. Like, I don't know, what are the rucks averaging at the moment? So
not a lot. Like, well, Gorner's
not a
like
lot.
90.
Yeah, I mean Jackson's the highest averaging ruck at the moment. I mean, that's obviously not going to be sustainable. Like, Gorn's going to have some big games during the season, obviously, but below that you've got English at 482. Yeah, I just don't really want to spend like another 500, 600k on a ruck when I don't really see the value in it. If there's going to be scoring like around 100, maybe 120 here or there, I'd rather get a Jackson or like a Wits that might drop down to like an 80, but top out at like 140.
Yeah.
And then use that extra 300k or something like that to upgrade to a more premium player somewhere else. It's going to guarantee me sort of big points all the time.
Yeah.
It's just what I do because, I mean, it would be great to have a premium on baller midfielder. But I'm also pretty happy with my midfield at the moment with the strategy I've gone with. Like, I mean, I could get one, and then I could put one of the rookies on the bench.
Yeah.
Which would be handy. So like, I could definitely do that. But the rest of the mid, I'm pretty happy with at the moment. The other option I was looking at was maybe getting rid of him and bringing in Green from GWS.
Tom Green, yeah.
Yeah, Tom Green from GWS. He's midfield, isn't he?
Yeah, he's sending it at the moment.
Yeah, he's sending it. He's like trying to bring it up, but it's tripping out. It's not really working. Supercoach. Try to find it.
Yeah, well, I think the main,
Okay.
like, obviously with having Gore in your team, like, the main decision is like for me, Jackson was just a means to get to Gorn. So obviously, as the season goes on, I'll get a bit more of an idea of whether he can stay in there as a ruck too, or or whether I do want to upgrade him at some point to Gorn. It'll just be interesting to see if they're going to stay like that the whole season, and if they're winning, I can't see why they wouldn't. We did say that before the start of the season, so. Yeah, that's a bit of a tricky one for you because he's gonna lose 50k this week, so you could potentially save there, but it's just one of those things because before the start of the season, you almost lock those two in, so I'm not going to make those changes, and then week 3 we're already talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could just happily leave him. Like I'm going to make enough money elsewhere, but if he scores 80, 90 points for the next 3 weeks in a row, all of a sudden I'm down 120k on him, and then that starts to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it's just a matter of I don't think it matters about losing the money on him if you are planning to keep him the whole year. If you're thinking like that he could, be a low scorer this year because Jackson, then I think you need to make the decision to trade him now. Like if you think his scoring is going to be under 100 all year, then I think you've got to make that call now.
I don't know if it's going to be under 100 all year. I just don't know if we're going to get the big 150-point games out of him like we did over the last couple of years. I just don't see with like the dual ruck, crazy cat, with the dual ruck situation with him and Jackson, whether we're going to get those big scores anymore out of him. Like you might get the hundreds, 120s, but is it worth spending 660k on a ruck that's only going to score 100, 120 occasionally? So that's something I got to toss up this week because if I get rid of him, it kind of gives me a heap of cash in the bank. I could essentially bring in a premium, like a top premium mid if I wanted to. And put Jackson in or Wits in the ruck. I could bring in Tom Green in the mids, and then maybe I could upgrade Rayner as well to like a more premium forward as well. If I wanted to go down that road, like I could bring in a Green, I could get rid of Gorn, and then I could bring in Green and Heaney or something like that. And have like a double sort of decent upgrade there. Or I could go for a one premium player kind of thing. So
it's just about trying to find that balance right between.
Exactly.
Obviously the whole idea is to score the most points, so you've got to be doing that while you are obviously trying to generate cash as well. So I mean, like I'm in a similar position, I guess, with Steele. Like, do you have Steele? I don't think you did.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, so like he's going to lose some money this week, but I have every belief that he'll get back to like up to that 120 average. So I'm just going to leave him. Whereas I guess that could be another option is to trade him out this week, save a little bit of cash, and get him back in a few weeks when his price is a bit low. But how much are you really going to gain in that time? And the only reason I'd really be doing that is if to get Cripps in, I think, and the fact that I have to get rid of Thomas, I think that's probably a better option for me. So
that works well.
Jack asked if how many trades like I'm going to be doing this week. So I didn't make any last week at all. So like I had every intention this week of using a trade boost. I just wanted to sort of gather some more information, and then if one of those rookies got injured or something like that and they weren't going to play their third game, it sort of just gave me a little bit of a head start there, and I would save a trade. So that was the sort of idea of it. But I can definitely see the advantage of some people who used 2 last week to get someone in. Like I think Jack even got Bowie in last week, and then he goes and scores 150. So obviously if you did that, that's a huge win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have you put Hewitt in last week too, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's like one of those ones that you actually like absolutely have to put in at this stage if you don't have him.
Yeah, I mean, for 400k, he's averaging 124 at the moment. Yes, it probably won't stay at that throughout the season, but that's a massive score for that price point. Like,
Yeah. Well, his projected
um,
change there's 45,000 just this week.
yeah,
And it's probably going to be 100,000 or close to over the next 3 weeks. So
yeah, it didn't really cost me that much to do it either. I think it was like
Hmm.
40k to upgrade from Starcevic to him, so it was kind of a no-brainer. Just burn a
Definitely a
trade for it,
no-brainer for sure.
um, yeah. So I got a bit of food for thought with what I want to do with Gorn.
Yeah.
Probably try and make that decision in the next few days, but my strategy, I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. Like, I went with at the start of the season, I was saying I was going with some sort of more value mids that kind of burnt us over the last year or two, but I think could make a lot of money and score pretty highly this year.
Yeah.
So it's turned out pretty well. Like I've got my one premium in Oliver, who's averaging 118 or something,
Yeah.
and he's just a lock. He's going to score 100 plus every week. And
Yeah.
then Neil's been popping off, Cripps has been popping off, Rao
Yeah.
Rao's been popping off as well. Shield didn't play the last week. I've got to find out what's going on with him actually on the injury
Mm.
list.
Well, as I said to you at the start of the year, like he's one that's just going to be in and out of the team. Big,
Side strain. So
there you go.
um,
So what's his? I can tell you.
it says test, so you never know.
Mm.
But if it looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, then it could be a pretty easy trade just to get rid of
Yeah.
him and bring in
Personally, I think
someone
that
else.
he's someone that I would look to trade on. Like, if he's not going to lose value this week, you could potentially look at doing it next week and have him on the bench.
Yeah.
But as I said, I think he's going to be like in and out of the team a lot. So he's probably one that you could try and move on sooner rather than later. But in saying that, like he's not going to be going down this week, so he's not someone that you've got to move on straight away.
Yeah, I'll just have to see if he's going to play this week or not. I don't think I had to put him on the bench, obviously, last weekend as an emergency because he got pulled out at the last minute. So having
Yeah,
him on the bench for a sustained period of time is like not optional, obviously. So
yeah, definitely. So what's his
um,
value? It's like 350 or something.
360 and he scored 101 in the first week. So
That's a good
um,
score.
yeah, so
Like
at
his value
101,
would go up. Like if you could potentially have him on the bench for a couple of weeks, and you could just rely on like one of the rookies to jump on and score for you instead, then Shield is going to go up when he gets back. So in saying that, you could potentially wait on him and make your money somewhere else, and then you can make a little bit on him, and then and then he's an easy upgrade to a premium. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. So what's it saying? Shield projected round 4 price chain. Yeah, so it looks like you could probably make 40, 50, 60, like 60 or 70k on him pretty easily if you held on to him. And all you'd need is probably like 1 or 2 more games out of him where he scores decently, like he did in that first round. And then you'd be able to make a decent turnover and upgrade to a premium mid. So I'm hesitant. If he doesn't play this week, it's going to be a tough one for me though. So we'll just see what I do. But I could also keep him on the bench in the interim, trade Gorn out, bring in like a Green, and play Green instead of Shield kind of thing, and then have Shield sitting on the bench for the meantime, and then keep the 3 rookies there. So that would at least give me a bit of buffer time for another week or two if he was going to be out to see if he's going to come back and play the same way he did in round 1. So um, yeah, there's a few options there. There's probably not too many players that I'm really concerned about at the moment. I was glad Crisp and Ridley scored well again this week. Who else is up there? Whitfield slacking a little bit, but I have faith in him, so
Hmm.
I'm not in any rush to get rid of him. It's probably really just like Gorn and Rayner and Shield are the 3 players that I'm a bit skeptical about. But if I do decide to get rid of Gorn, as I said, it opens up a heap of doors for me. So not really too fast. Like you could bring in a Jerry and a Green, and then you're gonna set yourself up for 2 players that are scoring heaps at the moment that you can make money on. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but 2 for 2 so far, so can't complain too much with the team.
Yeah, nice. Well, I lost to Georgia, so that's awesome. I think it
And
would
you
have
had
been
Neil as
close.
captain.
I had Neil as captain and I lost by 50, but I reckon if it would have been so close if Taron Thomas didn't get injured at halftime or just before halftime because he was going pretty good.
Yeah.
So that would have been real close. But anyway, you can't dwell on that. But yeah, so I'll go through what I'm thinking about doing, and I'll let you have a look. Do you have Dylan Stevens?
No, I don't. I was just looking him up before when you mentioned him to see what his price point was.
Yeah, so he's 167. So he's one that I'd really like to get in, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to if I want to get Cripps as well. So Cripps is like obviously going to go up 100,000. His scoring potential is higher, and I sort of need, like, obviously because I lost to Georgia, I need to try and get some more points straight away.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably a likely option. I think I'm going to put Sherry in because he's just going to go up by so much in the next few weeks, even if because now that Coleman Jones is out of the team as well, I can't see, and he's playing first ruck. I can't see him scoring sort of below that 70 or 80 at worst. So he's probably one that I just put in as a lock straight away. And because I've got, because Taron Thomas is 460, that can cover Cripps off pretty much straight away as well. So, I'm thinking if I went with him, who Cripps is the fourth. He's got the fourth highest total already, and then that gives
average.
and then that gives me 218 to potentially look at getting in
What do you need, a bench forward?
I need a bench forward, or I could, DeConing. I don't know if he's going to play. I'd assume that he play this week. I do have Drizzy from Freo as well. I think one of them's probably got more scoring potential than Gibcus. So I could potentially move DeConing up forward and then maybe look at getting a McCartan in. It'd be really nice. I think I'd really like to get Bowie in, but I'm 50k short, and I can't see another way that I'd get that.
Yeah.
Without trading someone else that I want in. Like, I'm pretty happy with Lockie Jones in defence at the moment. He's just going to tick along at 70 and, make me sort of 80k, and then I can trade him up to a premium probably. So,
yeah. No, that's handy. I mean, what did you have there? So Jerry, Cripps, and then you need a forward or a
probably
defender?
a defender because I can put, as I said, I want to try and maybe get Gibcus onto the bench. So if there's a higher scoring option, I was really keen on Sin from Port Adelaide, but he only scored like 40 or something.
Yeah.
First game.
I mean, McCartan's there as an easy option, obviously, but
that's the one that I want to go with if I'm going to try and pick up the cash straight away. I think so. He's obviously going to be the one that's going to go up the highest. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously had our reservations about him at the start of the year, and my opinion hasn't really changed too much, to be honest.
My opinion hasn't changed on the fact that I think he could get injured, but my opinion has changed of actually what he looks like as a player for Swans down there in defence, and he's looked fucking good. He's looked right at home. He's like slotted in straight away and looks like he's played 100 games for Swans back there. And with the pressure that the Swans midfield has, I think he gets a lot of those easy intercepts and all that sort of stuff. Whereas when he's in a shitter team, that there's obviously less time and less even when like that round one when Geelong played Bombers, Ridley just didn't get any points because there was just no pressure and Geelong just tore him a bit. So as much as the ball was down in the back line. Whereas I think the Swans, are probably the real deal now. And yeah, I can see him scoring pretty well. So he's probably my most likely. Still gives me 60k. I've obviously got to try and get Martin in next week, but it sort of gives me a bit more time. I can see if Baldwin's going to play again. I can have a look at something like that. The other thing to keep in mind too is, and I was going to say this to you before with your ruck, is Cherry is going to most likely, I think at round 6, they're doing the position changes. So
Oh, they are. Yeah, right.
So I think it's 6, 12, and 18. So if
So they're doing them live this year, are they?
yeah,
Is that because they didn't do that last year, did they?
no, they didn't change
Yeah.
any of them. So Cherry will definitely go to a ruck forward. So he could potentially go into your ruck 2 for Gorn, but the thing is, you're going to lose that money in the meantime. So you could potentially go to a Witts or a Jackson, try and pick up a bit of cash there, and then trade them out and put Cherry in if he's still scoring well. So that that's another option for you as well. Gives you a bit of flexibility, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my options at the moment. Just if I took Gorn out and I took Rayner out, I could bring like a Jackson or a Witts and a Cherry into the forward line. That leaves me with 400k in the bank. And then I could potentially get rid of Shield if I wanted to, and that would give me 750k to spend on a premium mid that I could put in there as well.
Yeah. So who would you try and go? Maybe would you just go straight to a McRae or something, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me look at the Can you bring it up on the stream maybe? See if I can bring it up.
What is it?
The mids. Sorry, I just want to see the average scores.
Asking you shall receive, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's just on average after 2 games, obviously.
Stream delay. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I don't mind. What's Tracker's price? 600?
600, yeah, on the dot, pretty much.
I don't mind that at 600, to be honest.
He looks pretty good.
Tracker, he does look very good. I am always wary though of having 2 premium players from the same team.
Yeah.
In the same position.
I don't know if that's going to be a concern with Melbourne though.
I don't exactly, yeah. Like both Oliver
and they work
Tracker
well together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be rare that you have a game where both of them are shut down. I think, they're the 2 best midfielders in the comp or 2 of. I don't think there's another midfield that can get on top of both of them. So even if one did have a slightly down night, the other one's going to pick that up. So it's definitely an option. Brayshaw's been popping off.
Brayshaw has been popping off too.
He's only 584. It's just.
I just don't know what that's going to be like though when Freo plays good teams. Do you know what I mean? Like how much of the ball is he really going to get? If you pick like a McRae or a Petrarca or someone like that, like they're going to get hands on the ball a lot during the game. Like what happens when Freo plays Melbourne and Melbourne just shuts Freo down, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How much is he really going to score then? But
Monday was away last week too, and obviously Fife will be back in like 4 or 5 weeks as well. So that's something to consider.
Yeah. But in saying that, like you have players like Tuke Miller, right, who are the best midfielder in that team, and they still lose most weeks, but he still pops off every week, right? Yeah. So,
well, that was my main thing with Miller was you can't tag him. He just works that hard and just runs that hard. He'll get on top of anyone that's trying to tag him at some point. You'd have to have 2 different players going to him at different times, and even then, it's just he's still going to outwork him.
Yeah, exactly. Just an absolute weapon, eh?
Yeah. I think McRae's not going to drop in value. I don't think he's always going to sit around that sort of 120 to 40, 140. Like I think the most he got last year was about 50k. So if he's someone that is potentially on your radar this year, and you want to try and get him in at some point, because I know I do.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had him. I think I've had him for the last couple of years now. And I could afford him, right? If I got rid of Shield, I could easily just go straight in with let me see what happens when I click boost. See how much money I would have. So if I got rid of Shield, I'd have 740k, and then I could bring in so I'd have 40k left in the bank, and I could So it'd be Gorn for Jackson, Rayner for Seri, and Shield for McRae. It's not bad. I would have to use one of my boosts to do it. It's definitely not a bad option, I think.
I'm just a little bit like yeah, I mean, the Shields, like, obviously gives you the cash to go straight to someone like that, but you could do someone else and look for that middle price midfielder or someone who's a little bit cheaper. Because, as I said, like, Shield's going to be one that will still go up a little bit in value, and he's an easy upgrade a little bit later down the track.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, it's hard, right? Like, my other mids are Neil. Obviously, you don't want to get rid of him. Cripps, don't want to get rid of him. They're going to make you money. Raul, don't want to get rid of him. He's going to make you money. And then I've got Dacos, Rochelle, and Horn Francis, who are your, like, money-making rookies. So
Yeah.
it's hard. Like, who do you then, if you go, I'm going to hold on to Shield, then you have to take off a bench player, right? And say if you take off, I think my highest bench player is Ward at 180k. That gives me 560k to play with.
It's just a little short of probably what you'd want. Like, if you could pick up a Brayshaw or something, you'd almost consider that. But he's 20k out. But I mean, as you said, Tom Green's an option.
It is an option, but then
he's going to go up 55,000 right? Based off his last two scores. So
it's like, do you take Tom Green, and keep Shield in the team, or do you get rid of Shield and have like a McRae? It's a bit of a toss up there, right?
Yeah. So that's with Gawn trading into Jackson, is it?
Yeah. The other option is if I went with Wits instead. I think he's a little bit cheaper, to be honest.
Only just. I think he's like 380. I think it's only going to save you 9,000.
Is he? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. I thought he's a little bit less. Yeah, so
the other one I was considering potentially he's not going to go up this week, so you could have a bit of a look at him. But Chad Warner, he looks so impressive.
He does, yeah. I had him in my team last year, and he was
he's a rookie.
He was okay, rookie last year, but yeah, he's looked a hell of a lot better this year. Pretty classic. Him and Ollie Florent ended up outside the SCG the other day.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's like opening a can of worms, Supercoach, right? As soon as you go, what if I get rid of this one player? Like, what could I do? And then, there's so many different options.
Yeah, well, what worked for me last year is like I was like, pretty much the same as like what I was this year. I think I only won like 3 out of my first 5 or something. But my cash generation was so much that at the end of the year, I won like the last like 10 rounds because I just had every premium, pretty much every slot. So that's what I'm trying to do again this year. So not trying to make excuses for losing to G, but like that's my goal. So I guess you need to just think about what's going to get you the most cash, and then that's the only thing with trading Gorney out. It's just like if Gorn starts popping off again.
Yeah, it's a risk.
You've had that premium in there. You've just traded him for a midfielder premium, and then you're going to try and get him back at some point. That's the hard thing, but it's just whether or not you think he can go back up to averaging 120, or if you think he's just going to sit around the 100. Because if he's only going to sit around 95 or 100, then it's probably a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's hard, right? Like going off the first 2 rounds, it doesn't look like he's going to be a 160 point scorer again with how much they're playing Jackson, but it's always the risk you take doing that, I guess. And then you obviously, if you don't jump on like a Witz or a Jackson now, in 2 or 3 weeks' time, you're going to kind of lose that opportunity to be able to do so because they're going to be 460, 480k, and then you're kind of stuck with Gorn. And what if he's only scoring 80 to 100 then?
Yeah, well,
spend 650k on him, and you can't downgrade to anyone else really that cheaply. So
I guess that's the main decision you got to make. It's like whether you think he's gonna get back and you want to trade him in, or if you generally believe that he's only going to be around that 100. I think I did today. Like obviously this week's the week to get rid of him.
Yeah.
How many trades did you do last week? Did you do 2?
I think I did 2 last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like last year I got caught out, right? Because I was pretty unlucky. Like a lot of my team got injured. Like all my premium players got injured last year.
Last year was pretty nuts.
Yeah, it was it was actually crazy. And I just ran out of trades with like 4 rounds to go, 5 rounds to go. I just had like 0 trades left. I couldn't do anything. So I just have like 4 or 5 players not playing every week. So I desperately don't want to do that again this year. It's so easy early on to get caught out with, oh, look at this player, oh, look at that player, like potential to make money here, and he's averaging 140 in the first 2 rounds. But like, you start doing that for the first 4 rounds, and all of a sudden you've burnt like 10 trades in the first 4 rounds, and then if you really need them later on, you're kind of stuffed. So, but then I think making trades this round makes sense, right?
Do you think you could make more money from upgrading other players than trading Gorn out? So he's, obviously he's mightn't get to 120 again, but he's going to be around that sort of 90 to 100 most likely.
Yeah.
Can you make more money and points by trading other stuff up? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, well, I could trade, let's say, I trade Gorn out, and then I traded Rayner out. Would I make more money on Jackson and Sherry? That's the thing, right? I think I'm going to make more money on those than I would with Rayner at the moment. Anyway,
absolutely. Yeah, Rayner's in my team too, and the break even's like 65. Like, he's probably gonna, it's only gonna be like 10,000. He's not probably a priority, but with him sitting on my bench, I'm better off trading him down.
Yeah. Who's your other forward? Oh, you have Taron Thomas in there at the moment.
Yeah, so he's the one obviously my hands are tied with. Like, I was, before I found out that he was out for 7 weeks, he was like a 50-50 for me. I was like going to stick with him because I think he's got the potential to go to 100, 110 and be a top 6 forward. But now that he's out for that period of time, I think I'm better off waiting and then getting him back in later in the year, which I think a lot of people try and do. But
yeah, I think our team set up the way we've spent money is fairly similar. I think the only difference at the moment is I have 2 premium rucks and I have an extra premium forward than you do.
Yeah.
I've got Treloar in at 480k.
Yeah. He's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, scored 111 this week, so for 480k forward, that's pretty fucking good. Yeah. So I'm kind of happy with keeping him. So it's just, I feel like I am missing that one like other big ticket premium mid. That's why I'm kind of tempted to buy the bullet and get like a McRae in or something like that. Or I could just stick with the strategy I had at the start of the season and stay with my like mid-range, good price mids that are scoring fucking insane points at the moment, and hold out for a couple of rounds, and then I'll be able to upgrade to a premium mid for free, essentially. So yeah, I don't know.
Let's go through like a few of the rookies that are like got the highest or lowest dollar per point, and just see like what your sort of thoughts are on them, and I'll give mine obviously. And
yeah, sounds good.
So the top one's obviously Nick Martin. So we touched on him before. He's obviously a no-brainer, but you can wait another week if you don't have him. So that's pretty much self-explanatory. Jack Hayes, he's got the lowest break even in the comp. If you don't have him this week, get him in because you're going to make 100,000 in 1 week. He's probably he's on track. If he's it's early days, but if he keeps scoring like that, he'll get up to like 500k. But I'm just not sure what Ryder's timeline is. But if Hayes is named this week, regardless, it's worth making the 100. Even if he's only going to play 1 more game, and he's been playing well enough to do more than that. So
yeah, I think if you don't have him, they're both great options to jump on. I've just been lucky enough to have them both for the last sort of 2 weeks. I think. So it saves me a trade. And
did you have Rochelle?
Yep. I've had him, Dacos, Horn, Francis, Hayes from the start, and I think I got Martin after round 1.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you did have to use one. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I think it saved me money in the end. I can't remember who I had I think I had Will Kelly as the forward, and he was like injured and not playing. I think he was out to like round 10, and I was like, if Martin doesn't play this week, it doesn't bother me. Like, Kelly's not playing anyway, and he's a better prospect, so I'm happy to take a trade on that.
So the next two are Aaron Black and Declan Mountford. I've never heard of these two people. I'm assuming that they were part of the top-up players
yeah, I think they
for West
started
Coast. So
this week. Yeah,
they're probably two that aren't either going to keep playing or if they do, they you can wait another week anyway. But I'm pretty sure some of the West Coast big names will just slot in straight away, and they won't be playing.
yeah, I probably wouldn't touch him.
Yeah, definitely. Cherry, yeah, I think I don't have him, and I think I'm going to put him in because I think he is a no-brainer.
Yep, same for me.
Yep. So what's he estimated to go up 60,000 this week and 100,000 over the next 3 weeks, even if he's scores around that 90. So
He's at 200k at the moment. Like, it's so cheap.
yeah, that was my only concern at the start of the season for him was, is he going to be the first ruck choice for the Roos? And when Coleman Jones is there, you got the three of them. Is he, Coleman Jones is obviously a bit more versatile. If you have Goldie going around the middle, and then he's more of a Coleman Jones, obviously more of a forward target as well. Is Cherry going to have a spot there? But now that it looks like he's the first ruck, I think he's 200,000. He's going to average around the 100, and he's going to go up to about 500. So I think he's a no-brainer as well.
Yep. 100%.
Anything to add there? Pretty much.
Nah, pretty much hit the nail on the head, I reckon.
Yep. Then next on the list, Rochelle.
Yeah, I think he's looked good. Like, what did he pop off in the first week?
Yeah, he got 115 or 18 or something, but he kicked 5 goals. So he's obviously not going to do that every week. But
yeah,
I don't think he's like a must-have.
I don't think so either. I think if you've got him in your team already,
obviously
it's
great
good
if you
to
got
hold
him.
on to.
Probably
Yeah,
if you look like for people that don't have, or if you do have all of Martin, Hayes, and probably McCartan already, he's probably one you could bring in for a bit of cash, I guess. But like he's still going to go up 70,000. Like, it's a fair bit, but it's just whether or not his round 2 scores only 58, so he's probably going to be more average around that 60. So he's probably not a priority. But if you got everything else, he's probably a good pick.
yeah, I think so as well. I've just had him to start, so it's easy for me. But if you're looking for, especially if you're looking for like a bench forward or a bench midfielder, and maybe the bench players that you picked at the start of the season haven't had any game time yet, it's not a bad option at like 180k at the moment. I think you'll probably make a bit of money on him as the season goes, and even if you just use him as an emergency,
yeah, definitely.
like, it's a pretty good option. Like, I've got a couple bench players that haven't played a game yet, right? Obviously, I just got them because they were like bottom of the price barrel, so I could have money somewhere else. But if you want a bench player that is going to be an emergency for you, that's going to score points, I think he's a pretty good option. Like, I've got Ward,
for sure,
for the Hawks on my bench at the moment, at 180,000.
Yeah, I think he'll
scored
only improve as you go as well.
I think so as well. But if you didn't have someone like Ward or like McDonald on your team or something like that, that's he's going to give you 50 points as an emergency in case something happens to one of your players. Like, I think Rochelle's a decent option to have.
Yeah, definitely.
And
he's a dual
well.
position, yeah, exactly. Like, if I didn't want to go down the Cripps route and I wanted like a Heaney instead, just pop Rochelle straight up into the mid, and then
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think he's not bad. And then we obviously spoke about McCartan before. Pretty tempting to get him in the team at that price point, especially as like a defensive forward dual position player.
That's the thing that's getting it for me. Like, I would probably, if I'm pretty certain I want to bring in Cripps this week. So if I wasn't doing that, I would probably bring in Stevens over McCartan. I think he's going to over the years average a lot higher. But
I think so as well. But yeah, as we're saying, that defensive forward dual position is so hard to come by.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
plus, if you got the Koning in your team as well, you can, like, say one of your forwards goes down injured, you can swap the two of them over and play McCartan, because I think McCartan's going to probably score a bit more than De Koning. So whether you need a top-up defender or forward, then you can do it that way.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah. So obviously I would like Stevens, but I think the defender forward of McCartan, and I have been, to be honest, like I had my doubts, but he's been pretty impressive so far. So I'm sort of getting on the train. This is it Ginnivan or Ginnivan from Pies. Didn't see too much of him, but
Yeah, neither did I.
I think he kicked a fair few goals, and I'm not sure when Pies, as you said, when they start playing the sort of better teams, how
Yeah,
if
those
he'll
kind of
just
players are going to score. Yeah,
like
I think
he's
you got to be careful picking up players that are scoring bags of goals and they're scoring like 120 points. Because you know they're just not going to do that every week,
yeah,
right?
that's
I
the
think
thing
a
with
good
me for Heaney is just like is you know, I'm keen to see him more in the midfield for him. So when Papley does come back, he might do that. But yeah, he's not going to kick 5 every week, so is he going to be able to get that 140? Someone asked if we recommend trading out Gorn, and yeah, we've had a fair bit of discussion about that so far. But yeah, we're pretty much saying if you believe that Gorn can get back to his average of 120, and he's going to start getting back to where he was last year, I'd definitely keep him. But if you think that he's got a potential because Jackson's getting more ruck time, if you think he's going to only be averaging around that 90 or 100, then it might be the time to move down to a Witts or a Jackson, and then you're going to make a little bit of money there, save on Gorn losing money, and then potentially later in the year you could swap him back in. So, and someone's also said something about Steele. I've got Steele, and I'm really confident that he'll get back to averaging around that 120. I think as they've played two not fantastic teams, and I think he does better against the better teams. So I'm personally going to keep him. I'm not willing to jump off. I want to keep him all year. So that's my personal opinion. But if you were looking at maybe going down to a Cripps, and you could maybe upgrade to him later in the year, save a bit of money, then that could be an option as well.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I think Steele's too good of a player. He'll bounce back. And I've got faith he'll score pretty highly this year.
He had a bad first round, but he still got 111 in the second round. So if he got 150 in the first round and then 111, we wouldn't even be talking about it. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
so
I'd
early in
definitely
the
be
season.
keeping him. That's the only thing. If you don't have Cripps and you want to try and get him in, save a bit of money, gain a bit of money, and then look to get Steele later in the year, then I wouldn't be jumping off Steele and like if you going straight to an Oliver or a.
No, I definitely wouldn't be doing that. The only way I'd be doing it is doing what you're saying, right? So if you want to get rid of Steele, and then you need 150k or you need a bit of money in the bank to sort out a player somewhere else that's giving you a bit of grief, then yeah, sure, downgrade him to a Cripps or a Lockie Neal that are scoring crazy points at the moment if you don't have them already. And that'll free up a bit of cash to do something else if you need to. But your premium players, I wouldn't be jumping off, especially the midfielders.
Yeah,
I don't think any of them have really
I
scored
think
that badly so far.
that's
so.
right. Yeah, I think like they've proven in other years as well that they're going to average around that mark. They always will. So unless you see something like Bourne where potentially his position could be getting some points taken from Jackson, like that's something. But your midfielders aren't going to be in that position. So, and someone's also asked about Ridley as well. He's a bit of a tricky one. I think they just got smashed. I was saying this before. Bombers just got smashed in the midfield by Geelong, and the ball was coming in that fast and accurate. He never had a chance to get an intercept mark or anything like that. He's back to 102 this week. I think, obviously Merritt being out for 8 weeks isn't going to help with their midfield, but I don't think they're going to get smashed like they did in that first round. That was just pathetic. So I'm not willing to jump off him yet either. And at 530, he's not going to go down heaps. And who are you going to trade him for? Like Cripps had a shocking first week. He was back the second week, but there's still umming and ahhing what they're doing with him position wise. They want him to play more mid, all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah, I think you and I have both got him in our teams, and I'm not going to do anything with him either.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would probably be saying the same thing about Whitfield at the moment. I mean, Whitfield's scoring lower than Ridley is, right?
Yeah.
But
If you've got Whitfield and Ridley, I'd be looking at potentially trading out Whitfield before Ridley. Like,
yeah, so
I'm
would
not
I
going to move on him just yet, but
either.
he
Yeah,
was one that was on my radar this week. And if I didn't have a Hewitt, for example, I'd be going straight from a Whitfield to a Hewitt pretty much.
yeah, 100%. You have other options as well there in the defense if you wanted to upgrade and change to something like Doherty scored 100 points again this week, and he's only 530, so you could slide from like a Whitfield to a Doherty or a Ridley to a Doherty or someone like that if you wanted to, or an Aaron Hall or something like that. But I'm not too fussed
That's
about them at the moment to
yeah.
warrant getting rid of them.
That's the thing. Like you don't really want to be trying, jumping from a premium to a premium.
To a
Like
premium, yeah,
at the start of the
100%.
season, you obviously got that premium because you thought that he's going to be someone that you can have in all year. Don't just throw that in the bin because he's had a couple of shocking weeks. Look at why he's had the bad weeks, and if you, as I said, like Gorn, if you think there's a reason for it, then that's potentially a thing that you could go off. Otherwise, yeah, maybe stick with him a few more weeks, and you're not gonna, they're not gonna go down 100,000 in the next 3 weeks, so you're not gonna lose 100k. You're probably gonna, might be like 20 or 30,000. And
I think unless we're saying it's like someone like Gorn where you think, hey, he might not score what he used to. He's going to get points taken off from him by someone like Jackson. Unless it's a player like that in the early weeks of the season, I probably wouldn't be looking to touch your premium players at all.
yeah,
You picked them for a reason at the start of the season, right?
that's it.
It's because they've got a history of scoring big points and they're fucking solid players. So
Yeah,
I'd be using my trades in
and
the
have a
early
look at
weeks.
who they're coming up against, like who they're versing,
Yeah,
how they've scored against them in the past as well. Like obviously Neil goes ham against the Bombers, so you can, if you look at that sort of stuff, you can see, okay, it's a good choice to have the captain this week. If you just do that sort of stuff when you're looking at trading out, like if Ridley performs really badly against his next 4 opponents, then that might make your decision a little bit easier as well.
yeah, 100%. I think I'd probably try my best if you could to spend the early rounds of the season looking at like great cheap picks that you could pick up that might make you a lot of money and score points on rather than touching premiums for other premiums. So
Someone's asked as well if it's worth saving the boost trades until the buy rounds. Um, I'm a little bit torn on this because obviously it's the first year of having these extra trades, so they really are extra trades. Last year we only had 30. Um, I'm I'm of the opinion that coming into the buy rounds, I don't think you'd need them that much if you manage your team well. But if you're a little bit less confident, you're not prepared to sort of look at who's coming up and whether you're going to have 10 players all out at the one time, then maybe save them. Otherwise, I think you'd be better off. Like for me, for example, I didn't use any last week. I'm committed to pretty much using 3 this week to try and get that back up. And my idea was I'll save 1 trade doing that. But yeah, I think if you're not prepared to maybe look into the buy rounds and see what's coming up, then maybe save them. But then again, you've got 5 of them. There's only 3 buy rounds, as what I'm aware. And if they've done it the same as last year, I haven't actually checked. Do you know what they're doing?
Nah, for the buy rounds,
Nah.
I'm not too sure. I think it's probably just going to be the same as usual, what they always do. But we just have a few extra trades at the moment. So, I mean, if you've played Supercoach before, right, like, there's everyone's struggling during the buy rounds. I think saving all your trades for the buy rounds and then burning them like 10 trades at a time each week or something through the buy rounds probably isn't the smartest decision to make. There's probably better things you could use your trades for. Obviously, you want to have a couple in the bank leading up to the buy round, so you're not scoring terribly. But if there's opportunities to make money on good players early on, and you need to use a bonus trade to do it, I wouldn't hesitate. I don't think.
Yeah, and
I just
look
wouldn't
at
be
like
burning Yeah,
some of those players like that you put in at the start of the year that you think you're going to score all right, but you know pretty much straight away that they're going to be traded for a rookie to help upgrade something else. So like in my team, for example, I had Lockie Jones and Cam Rayner. So they're around that 300,000. They're really easy players to, if you trade out one of them and one down, you can get one rookie. You can get almost a premium. You obviously try and pick ones at the start of the year that you think you're going to make a little bit of money. Yeah. Did you want to keep going through this list a little bit, or?
Any other noteworthy names on there if you want to scroll down a little bit?
Obviously, Connor McDonald, I think if he's probably not one that you have to jump on if you've got him at the start of the year. Good. Horn Francis and Dacos, I think they're all, if you haven't got them, I'd still probably get them in. They're probably
100%.
must-haves. McCreary, like same as sort of Ginnivan, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
I think he's probably similar. Where I don't know if he's going to get that massive score every week, but he does look all right. Just depends on whether the Pies can keep up what they've got. I think similar with the Hawks guys. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up that pace all year, especially with the when the older bodies start getting on top of them at the end of the year. But as cash cows at the start, we'll post this on YouTube as well.
What's Bowie at price wise?
He's 270-ish, I think 260 something.
Yeah, be nice to have.
265.
But...
There you go. The 151 in ninth game, and someone said, "Do you know anyone to watch? That's good." Yeah. Pay attention. Get Supercoach Phantom.
Or you can just watch us.
Whatever. He's probably similar. It's a bit of a tricky one. Like he's gonna generate a lot of cash over the next 3 weeks. So like with a 150, he's gonna have that in his scoreline for the next 3 rounds. He's gonna generate a heap of cash. Like I think he's one of the highest over the next 3 weeks. He's not going to score 151 every week, so it's a bit of a risk. He scored 50 the week before, so I'm a little bit torn on him. If you got him in before this round somehow, great pick. I think Jack did that. I don't know how he did that, or if he had him from the start, but
I think if you got him from the start, it's a no-brainer to keep him.
Yeah.
If you don't have him,
sorry,
yeah, you're right. I just think if you don't have him at 340k,
he wouldn't be worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be worth it unless you had someone else around that price point that just hasn't been scoring great for you at the moment.
That's right. Yeah. So if you had like a Chapman or someone like a Lockie Jones, someone like that you think you could transfer over and Bauer's going to go a lot better and get more cash, definitely an option. But I'd be doing it this week. I wouldn't be waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just saying Will Brodie as well. He's an interesting one. I think he's only played like 60% of game time. And he's still he's the highest point per minute in the game or something behind Bowie. He's interesting because he didn't play that many games when he was at Gold Coast. Now that he's at Freo, it seems like he's getting more game time. But I don't know if he's not fit enough. I don't know if he's if he's still scoring 100 points when he's only playing 60% of the game time, he's
pretty impressive.
Well, that's right, yeah. And is he going to keep doing that at 60% of the game time, or is that just a once off? He's one that maybe you look at if you didn't have some other options available.
But a lot of these players as well, right? You don't have to jump on all of them and get them in your team early in the season, right? Like you can create watch lists on Supercoach. Like I have watch lists of a lot of players that I see scoring well and want to keep an eye on. You can monitor how their price performs over a couple of weeks. And if they go how you think they might go, you can bring them in. If they go the other way and maybe get a bit cheaper, you might be able to get him in at a bargain price as well. So there's obviously a lot of players and too many to trade in, but there's plenty of options there for cheap rookie picks to bring in that are going to score you some points. I think
there's other picks before him, as we've already said. But in saying that, if you've got your Hayes, you've got your Martin, you've got Rochelle, you've got all those ones already, then he's definitely one that you could look at for sure.
100%.
Jaws Dog said thoughts on Real and how Juju put him on the tagging role on the weekend. I didn't actually watch that game. It was one of the ones I didn't watch. I would be surprised if he kept that roll up after the first game that he had, but I'm assuming that. Yeah, it's hard for me to comment when I haven't seen the game, and I mean his first game was so impressive with how many contested possessions and stuff. I don't know. I can't see them keeping them doing that, but I don't know why you'd have one of one of your two best midfielders tagging, unless it was trying to teach him spots to go and they wanted him following a good player to try and show him whereabouts to place himself at a contest. That's the only reason I could really see them doing that.
Yeah, I don't think he's the type of player that you'd be like, okay, Raul's just a tagger now. That's what he's doing. I think he's too good of a on-baller midfielder to not be giving him the ball all the time, right? So,
were Gold Coast
like him
losing at half time? Were they getting smashed? I can't even remember that game.
Yeah, I can't remember too much either. I think it was close at halftime. They were losing, but it was close. Let me bring up the.
Because that's the thing as well. They're not going to be playing the best midfield in the comp every week, like.
Yeah, 100%.
Just trying to bring up the
timeline. Yeah, so they were down by 14 points at halftime.
Yeah, I mean they might have just been trying something different, I guess. I definitely can't see them doing that every week. That's for sure. Who do Gold Coast have this week? They've got the Giants. The Giants aren't going that well. I honestly can't see him tagging anyone in the Giants. And as I said, I think if the only reason they'd be doing that is if he was tagging like an Oliver or Petrarca, they just would have been trying to educate him and just saying, all right, look where, follow him everywhere and look where he goes, look where he's active at the contest and where he gets the ball. And, in the coming weeks, we want you to replicate that. That probably would be more of an education thing. But then again, I'm not an AFL coach, so.
Yeah, I think so as well. If you had him in your team as well, I wouldn't touch him. If you don't have him in your team and you're thinking about putting him in, it just depends how much money you got to spend, I guess.
I think he's definitely going to go up a fair bit.
I think he's definitely going to go up a fair bit as well. He looks good. He looks in shape. He finally looks like his body's probably not going to break down on him.
Yeah, he's like the 16th best cash cow, and his projected rise it's 50. What is it? It's 50k this week, so you'll automatically make 50. And he's probably going to end up around the 500, I'd imagine, maybe 550. I don't know if here's where you got to decide, is he going to be in your top 8 midfielders at the end of the year, because you've only got so many trades to upgrade everyone to a premium, right? So do you think he's going to get there, or do you think it's going to be close?
Yeah, I don't know. Jaws Dog, is he in your team at the moment, or is he something you're thinking to put in your team?
Yeah,
it's probably a better question.
I definitely wouldn't be taking him out. If you've got him, leave him for sure. He's also said his Cripps or Neil a must-have.
I think for me, they were a must-have at the start of the season.
So he's got him already. So yeah, don't touch him. Right? He's going to be going up in value over the next 3 weeks. If you've already got him, even if he starts playing that role more, and say he gets 70 or 80 the next 3 weeks, he's going to get up to pretty close to that 500k mark anyway, and then that's when you can upgrade him to another premium if that's the route that you want to go down. So I definitely wouldn't be touching him. Even to trade him into a Cripps or something, I don't think is wise. I think I'd be looking at another option to try and get in Cripps or Neil if you don't have one of them. Yeah, I think Neil's probably a must. If I didn't have Neil in my team this week, I'd certainly be looking at an option to try and get him in. It's just a bit of a tricky one because, as I said, you kind of want to avoid going from premium to premium. So if you can find, if you've got a couple of middle ranges and you can trade one into a Cripps or a Neil, I'd probably be doing that. For me, it's easy. I've got Taron Thomas. He's the same price as Cripps. I'm actually going to save 5k going to Cripps, and he's going to go up 100,000 in the next 3 rounds easily. So no brainer for me with Taron Thomas being out. And you've got someone else that's out. I don't think there were too many injuries this round, but
yeah, I mean, to me, they were a no-brainer at the start of the season, so I don't really have to do anything.
Big dog.
But they were at the price point. And it's come true. But it just depends what your strategy is of your team and how you laid out your team price wise. What do you say? Only option I'd be thinking for Neil is Bont, but he hasn't had a 20 touch game. He's averaging 105, so not so keen. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be getting rid of your premier midfielders for
No.
someone like Neil.
I think
I'd
Bond,
only be
as you said,
bringing.
mate, he's had 2 pretty average games, and he's on averaging 105. So
Yeah,
he can only improve.
yeah, I'd only bring if you don't have like a Neil or a Cripps, I'd only be bringing them in if you could get them in for someone around the same price point. Or you have someone that you're not too keen on, like a Gorn. You think he might not score as well. You could downgrade him and then upgrade one of your lower priced mids to like a Cripps or a Neil. That's probably the only way I do it. I definitely wouldn't be getting rid of premiums for those two.
I think that sums it up. I agree
Yeah.
with all that. Is there anything else? Sorry, is there anything else that you want to talk about, pretty much, or anything else you want to touch on? I think that covers it pretty much. So I think, yeah, the trades I'm looking at, as I said, Cripps is a must-have. I think I'm going to try and get him in. Even if he doesn't average, that 150, he's going to be averaging over 100, and he's got a potential to be a top 8 midfielder this year. And at the price point, you're going to make money on him either way, so must-have for me. I think Cherry's almost a must-have. He's very close. I'd be still taking a Hayes or a Martin potentially before a Cherry if you didn't have those. But as I said, you got another week to move on the Martin, so I'll probably look at doing that trade next week. And then, yeah, McCartan, I'm sort of coming around. So if you're looking to try and if you don't have McCartan and you're looking to try and upgrade one of your defenders for sort of slightly better scoring option, then that's probably the route that I'll go down.
I mean, what we probably could do as well, if Jaws or any of these guys were giving advice on the chat, if you want to take a screenshot of your team and post it in the chat, like we'd be happy to look at it and sort of give you a bit more in-depth analysis of where we think you can make money or where we think you can save money and probably bring in one of these players. It's hard to completely give you proper advice on whether to bring in players or not without seeing the structure of the rest of your team. We can only sort of give you advice on the form and the price point they're at. So
Yeah.
Feel free to chuck a screenshot in the chat if you want of your team, and we can probably try help you out a bit more if you want.
So as you said, he's looking at bringing in a forward. Do I skip past Heaney? Yeah, we did touch on Heaney before. He looks the goods, but he has done that in previous years. So, again, it's just one of those things. Like because I don't have Cripps is going to be my option over Heaney. Although it would be easy for me to go from a Taron Thomas to a Heaney. Yeah, I think it just depends on if you think Heaney can be a top 6 forward for the whole year, I'd be getting him in. If you don't, if you think that is, for me, my personal opinion is I think he'll drop back a bit when he's not kicking that many goals a game. I think he'll drop back a bit. So he's not a must-have for me. But if you've got all those other rookies already and you don't need to try and get any of them in, definitely an option.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, you could always,
because if you don't have, sorry to cut you off, if you don't have Cherry, I mean, you can go from someone to Cherry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you have someone like Rayner, like I do, you could save 80 grand on Rayner, bring in Cherry for 200k or whatever the fuck he's at. And then you might be able to upgrade one of your mids to a Neil or a Cripps or someone like that. That might open up some options for you. So
yeah, definitely. If there's nothing else you want to go over, I think so I had a couple of requests for tips this week.
Oh yeah.
Um,
What do we got this week? So we got Dog Sydney. Is that Marvel's going to be a bloody cracker? I think.
Yeah, we'll I think we're going to try and watch that game on here as well. So there we go. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
Can't make it any bigger, really.
That's good.
Yeah, I can. I'm an idiot. All right, so yeah, that's it. Geez, that's going to be a great game. Where is it? Marvel.
Yep.
Yeah, Bulldogs weren't great last week. I think they probably should have still won in the end over the Blues, but they missed 6 shots in a row in the last quarter or something. I know I had my VC on Dunkley, and it was a blessing in disguise because I probably would have taken the score if he kicked those 2 goals. But yeah, they easily could have won that game. I still think the Bulldogs have a bit of work to do, and the Sydney midfield was so good.
They're
The
in some form at
pressure,
the moment too.
the pressure's just nuts, and they're always going to be better at the start of the season than late in the season because they got the young kids. But yeah, their pressure's so crazy. I'm actually leaning towards Sydney in that one.
Yeah, so am I. I probably wouldn't touch it if you're going to bet on it, to be honest.
No, it's a tricky one to bet on because
I think they're pretty much odds on in that game. I think they're pretty close.
yeah, they are.
Odds
Yeah,
wise.
they're both $1.90. You probably get $2. Like if you fish around, you probably get $2 on for both of them. But
yeah, I probably wouldn't touch it. I think it's the way Sydney's been playing at the moment. I think they could easily win, and I think Dogs probably are better than they've represented over the last couple of weeks. So I think they could easily get the nod as well. I think, yeah, if you had to ask me at the start of the season, I would have said Dogs hands down. But with the way Sydney's played over the last 2 weeks, I'm not as certain anymore. So
first
I
of all,
just
coin
put,
that one.
yeah, I think there's a pretty good lock multi that you could put on this week. Over with a couple of games, I think it came out to $2.80 or something like that when I did it, and I put a fair bit of money on it. I think that was just looking at this. I think it was, sorry, mate, Carlton over Hawthorn.
Okay, interesting, mate. Considering I had Port as my lock in the multi last week, and look what happened to them, mate. So.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know. Port over Adelaide.
Yep.
I've got them in the multi as well. Melbourne over Essendon.
Yep.
I've got them in the multi as well. I think I had Brisbane over North as well. Those 4 teams.
I wasn't
just under
prepared to put the Carlton in. Like I was looking at doing multi similar. Like I wasn't prepared to do that game. It was just too high risk. You just don't know what's going to happen.
You don't? Yeah, I just think fuck man, they look good this year. I've turned after they beat Richmond when they were 20 points down at the start of the 4th quarter. Even though Richmond aren't probably the best team this year, I think Richmond's a better team than Hawthorn are. And if they can come back from 20 points down and Richmond kicking the first goal of the 4th quarter and shut them out in the last quarter, I think they. I'm sorry, buddy. I think they might have Hawthorn's number.
Yeah, well, look, they're $1.40. Like they probably they have had 2 good wins, but in saying that, Hawks, they weren't overly impressive in the first round, but that second round game, like that was nutty. Like that was really impressive to beat like one of the premiership favourites like in that fashion. I don't think that's a fluke. I did say like obviously the way that they're playing at some point, you're going to get a good coach you come up against like Melbourne or something, and I think they could just get destroyed. But I
can't believe they smoked Port Adelaide like that. That was
64
very impressive.
points made in Adelaide. Like it's not like it was at the G or anything, and there wasn't any players out from Port. Like it was a full strength or close. So I wouldn't be
goals. Lewis,
everyone,
Bruce Gunston,
everyone. So D's Bombers, I can't see the Bombers coming back. They've had 2 pretty ordinary games, and D's look good.
Yeah, it's a shame because I had them in my 8 for the year.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, but
disappointing.
I think they've still got it. Like I think last year they made a bit of a late run as well. Like they might do something similar. What we say before, Merritt's out for 8 weeks. It's going to be pretty tough without him as well. So
yeah.
Adelaide Port. I think Port probably hit back. Adelaide haven't been that impressive. They're still my tip for the wooden spoon. So
yeah,
nothing to add there.
I probably wouldn't touch
2 Friday night games too randomly.
Yeah, that's nice.
Bizarre.
I think like your West Coast Fremantle game, if I had to pick, I'd probably lean towards Fremantle, but a bit of a toss to the coin, depending on which West Coast shows up, what players they have back, that kind of jazz.
It'll be interesting to see the lineups, but I'm pretty confident they'll have most of them back.
Yeah, so if you look at the lineup late and see they've got their good players back, I probably wouldn't touch it, to be honest. What else is there? Yeah, the Dog Sydney game I wouldn't touch. The GWS Gold Coast game, I think GWS there, but the way Gold Coast looked against Melbourne on the weekend, and they didn't get flat out smoked.
GWS were really poor against Richmond. They got
They were,
hammered, and
yeah,
I don't
they
rate
were,
I think Richmond are on the way down.
yeah,
GWS were my tip to go like fifth. I think I had them, and they look shocking at the moment. So they will hit back
yeah. I
at
think,
some point. I'm just not sure. Yeah, tricky one. It's at Gold. It's in GWS too. So
yeah, I think. I mean,
that's a tricky one.
it's a tricky one. Gold Coast are paying $2.60. So if you're looking for a bit of value, you could probably put some money on there, but it's definitely a bit of a risk.
Yeah,
And
they
then St
definitely weren't blown
Kilda,
away by Melbourne. That's for sure. So
no, they definitely weren't. And then St Kilda Richmond is probably a bit of a toss of the coin as well, I reckon.
yeah, it's just which version of each team's going to show up, really.
100%, yeah.
Rather than sending to the Discord in to have a look at the team now, or send it to me after, and we'll have a look at it, and we might have a look at it for next week or something like that.
Yeah, or I think we're going to do the live stream on Thursday for the game for Bulldog Sydney.
Yep.
So if you do send it through, we could probably run that through if you jump on for the start of the game or something like that, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
We could probably run that.
With the rolling lockout this week is good as well. This every year, every round this year. So. Collingwood Geelong's interesting.
Very interesting.
I think I'm just not convinced about Collingwood, but they have been pretty good so far.
So am I. I thought Collingwood were going to be here, to be honest. But their young players are looking really good. And then I thought Geelong have just like caught me by surprise both weeks, really. I didn't think they were going to be as good as they have been over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. I thought the time's going to come. They've probably got the oldest AFL team in the fucking comp at the moment.
Yeah.
I thought maybe this year would be the year that they have some drop off, and then they had that big win in round one. What was the score last week? Do you remember for the Geelong game?
With the first Sydney.
Yeah,
they got
what was the
beaten by
final
5
score?
goals. Yeah, but I mean,
yeah, 5 goals. That's
to
right.
be honest,
And
they
was
were lucky that Buddy's goal happened and they had that break in proceedings because Sydney were getting on top a lot.
Getting on top of them. So that's kind of the form that I was expecting them to have. But then Sydney blitzed them out of the water.
Here's the thing. Bombers' pressure was non-existent and Geelong could do whatever they wanted. Sydney were a very high-pressure team. It's just, I think it's just a conversation of can Collingwood bring the same pressure as what Sydney did? That's my big toss-up. I think if they can, they've got a good chance.
I think they can. Yeah, so... Yeah, it'll be interesting.
So Collingwood only had Adelaide. They did pump them, but and they've beaten St Kilda, who beat an undermanned Fremantle. It wasn't a crash hot game, but they were on top most of the game, so pretty tricky.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple options. Do you have any pre-tips for the weekend betting wise that you've looked at that? Like a multi or a same game multi or anything that you've already got locked in, or you probably look a bit closer?
I'll probably get one ready for Thursday.
Yeah. So what I was thinking is you could potentially look at making some money on that Thursday game, not head to head, but in the same game multi aspect.
Well, I think last week
get up on that
Thursday game I had the Bulldogs Carlton. I think I put in there on either team under 25 points, and that was paying like $1.60 or $1.70 or something. So that was really good value. So it's just, that could be something similar this week. I don't think either team's going to be win by maybe 25 or more. I think it will be close, but I'm leaning towards Sydney in that one. So maybe you could get a bit of value into the multi that way. As I said, I'm not prepared to put in either Hawks or Carlton. I think that could just be anything could happen in that game.
I mean, you could look at making maybe a bit of money on that Thursday game, and then
you could roll that into like a pool.
Rolling it into like a safe multi, yeah. So Sydney are at, what are they at, $1.92 for that game. I wonder what the overs, the margin markets are for that game. The handicap's not that great, to be honest. So
we'll touch on some on Thursday. We'll have a bit of a look and
anyway,
come back.
yeah.
And Brisbane, I think that game just speaks for itself. Really, I'd be very surprised if North were going up to the Gabba and winning.
Yeah.
And if they do that, I don't think Brisbane will be contending this year.
Yeah, what probably could do for you guys is we could probably set up a community section in the Discord if you do want to post your fucking
Yeah,
stuff in the
100%.
future. We could probably get that set up in there so you could post your team, or we could probably give you a bit of feedback as well.
Otherwise,
So,
just in the meantime, I'll just send me a message on Twitch or whatever it is, and I'll
yeah, you could just post a link in the chat to a screenshot or
we'll have a
something,
look at
whatever
it
you
during
want
the
to
week
do.
and give you some feedback on Thursday.
Yeah. Sounds
Sweet.
good, mate. Do you have any other closing thoughts before we
I think
fuck
that
off?
pretty much covers it.
Yep.
Yeah, Thursday night should be a cracker, so we'll do that. Unfortunately, I've got futsal
On
at
Thursday.
7:30, so I'll be back around 8:30. So I'll miss the first quarter, but if you want to kick things off, you can. Otherwise, we'll come on for start of the second quarter or just after halftime or whatever, and we can do it. We can do the Supercoach halftime or something like that.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll figure something
stress.
out.
Yeah, easy.
Sweet as.
All right,
Alright,
guys.
guys.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining. Catch you next time.
Catch you.